Oh boy. Oh boy. So Nintendo just published their quarterly financial report, yada yada. You know why we're here. I've done a million videos by now. And they gave us, sales data on the various first-party Switch 2 games that we got last year. I did a video talking about all the games on the list, Pokemon Legends ZA, Mario Kart DK, Kirby, all that stuff. But Metroid Prime 4 was mysteriously absent from any of Nintendo's reports. They just did not tell us how the game did. And if you look at this historically, generally they don't give us sales data for a game. It doesn't make it in like the rankings unless it passes the 1 million mark. It's got to sell at least 1 million copies. And then when that happens, they will give us specific data. And then from that point, they won't update the number until it passes another million. So like overall, it works in millions, which is to suggest that Metroid Prime 4 failed to cross that 1 million mark. Now, before we jump straight to ultimate, utmost doom and gloom, there are a few things to consider here. The game launched in early December, and this sales data tracks through the end of December. So basically, this game had under a month on the market before that sales data cutoff. Under a month? Okay, that's not a super duper long time. And then the other thing to consider is that these sales are going to be split between two versions of the game. The game launched on Switch 1 and Switch 2. And if you split those up, then it's okay. That makes sense that neither one would have crossed that million threshold. It would have been kind of crazy if we got like over 1 million on both. I'd say that'd be pretty darn good for the game. But each of these positive points of consideration come with their own caveats. As far as the first one goes, yeah, it didn't really have a full month, but it did launch pretty early in the month. And generally speaking, games sell the most during that first week, during, if anything, the first few days. Bigger system selling games, they sell and then they continue to sell. But games from smaller properties, less historically popular properties, they've got their dedicated fan base. They tend to sell, and that's more or less what they're going to sell. Their legs are very, very small. And we've seen this with other Metroid games. Metroid Dread is the best-selling Metroid game. It sold 3 million units really early on. And then it never ever crossed that threshold again. It never bumped up into 4 million so that Nintendo gave us a new number. The sales were totally front-loaded, and I would kind of expect the same thing for Metroid Prime 4. It's the Metroid series. It's never really done that well, especially in Japan. And then the problem with the second potential positive point, the sales are split between two versions. And I mean, you really do have to be fair. That is a thing. That really is something to consider. My worry here is that Nintendo makes the rules when it comes to how they report their sales data. And, it's not like it's working on a computer program. It's not like a law, it's got to pass the 1 million or whatever. They can package this and give it to us in any way. And even if a game sells under a threshold, they can update us for any reason. I want to say we've seen this in the past. They've made a special point to hold up a game and mention how much it's sold, or to update the data or something. And if Nintendo's aim with these reports is to be hey, here's all the games that we put out, and here's how well they did, they're going to take any opportunity to hold up a game and kind of I don't want to say spin, but kind of spin things and, put things in kind of a positive light. So if I were them and even if the sales of Metroid Prime 4 were only kind of okay, like if the sales were split between two, okay, so it's not, neither one is going to cross that million threshold, so we can't like hold up, oh look, just the Switch 1 version did this well. At the very least, if I were them, I would combine them. And just like, you know, yeah, okay, I may not be putting it on like the top 10 list or whatever for Switch 2 software titles, but like overall, just for the sake of the report, I'm still going to put those two numbers together and say, hey, look, across both platforms, Metroid Prime 4 sold this much. That's what I would do. And I don't know why they wouldn't do it. Because again, I feel like we've seen similar things to that before. So I can't make any assumptions. I absolutely cannot be sure of anything. But the fact that they didn't at least do that is worrisome. Is rather worrisome. Just personally speaking, putting myself in their shoes, for me to not want to do that, to like combine the numbers, to kind of prop them up and report them to people, the numbers would have to be pretty bad. You know, like it would have to be bad. It would have to be that even combined, they didn't even reach 1 million. And if that is the case, again, can't be sure of anything. Can't doom and gloom quite yet, but like, if that's the case, then this game is a big failure. It's a really big failure. And okay, another thing to consider, another positive thing, it's still early in the generation, in the Switch 2 generation. And there is at least a chance that you've got an okay chunk of people who are like, I want to play the game on Switch 2. I don't want to get the inferior Switch 1 version because this game is just too special. And I would totally understand that. Like if I didn't have a Switch 2, like if I didn't like, you know, just like, oh, I always got to buy the thing day one for my job. Like if I wasn't doing that and I was like, no, I'm probably not going to get a Switch 2 for a while, it would be quite the bind, because I'm like, yeah, I really want to play Metroid Prime 4. It's really important. Been waiting for 1 trillion years, but like, I do want to play it on Switch 2. I don't want to play the inferior Switch 1 version. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, like, the game is so good on Switch 2. It's so good. You can't even say it's a Switch 1 game that was given a cross-gen patch for Switch 2. This looks like a Switch 2 game. This looks everything as good as I would expect from a ground-up first-party Switch 2 game, even better in some cases. It is incredible on Switch 2. So maybe there are some people who are just waiting. They didn't want to pick up the game yet. You know, it's not like Pokemon. Like I was making fun of Pokemon in the other video on sales data for that. How just like most people just got it on Switch because it's like, whatever. It's Pokemon. Yeah, it'd be nice if it ran better, but like, it's Pokemon. But in this case, like it's like Metroid Prime 4, it's got to be the most gorgeous game Nintendo's ever put out. Like it really is just a technical marvel. So maybe it's got that going for it. Maybe. Possibly. But at the same time, like we gotta look at reality here. It's a series that has struggled to do well, and they put out a title, they put out a game that did not review well. Reviews were, I mean, you know, they weren't all bad. They were really mixed. That's the thing. It's kind of the definition of mixed reception. Even the people who love the game admit that there's a lot of problems with it. And then there are plenty of other people who, you know, those problems are too big to ignore, and it's not a good game. And then the problem with, you know, the current state of gaming discourse, things are like crazy right now. So these stories, more than ever, just get blown up, and these tiny little problems get exploded to be these massive things. And you have these humongous hate campaigns, and like the Miles McKenzie, like Marvel writing, like that was a big thing that blew up. That affected me. I contributed to that whole entire wave. I absolutely did. But then all of the other stuff, the bike and the open desert, and then the amiibo thing, and now you're getting all these reports about how the reception is mixed, and now I'm doing a video about how the sales aren't very good. It's just like, it's just been negative press. This game has gotten mixed reception and negative press from the beginning, and I have no doubt that that has probably had an effect on sales. You know, people don't want to shell out 60, 70 bucks for a game that they're not sure is gonna be good. Maybe hardcore Metroid fans are gonna show up. Maybe they were always gonna show up. I was always gonna show up. But you can't always just cater to the hardcore fans. If a game is to do well, it has to go beyond that. It has to reach a wider audience. And this game does not seem to be reaching that wider audience. It's just too divisive. There's just too many problems with it. And I know people have been waiting for my own thoughts on the game. I still haven't done a full review. I don't even know when I'm gonna do one. I haven't even beaten it yet, is the thing. I've played like the first half, and I've really, really liked it. I've liked most of it. I can see that there are problems, but I've liked a lot of it. But then I've heard that the second half is when it gets like really bad. So like, I'm not really like, I don't know. It's just this weird thing where like, it's Metroid Prime 4. What do you mean you haven't beaten it? It's because it's weird. It's because the whole situation is weird. And I also just got a lot going on. You know, I haven't like had the time to like when something is too special, then it's like hard to make the time for it. Cause I gotta like be in the headspace and all. So like, yeah, I don't know. Even I can see that like, it's a game that's got a lot of problems, but that's the thing is like, it's got really big problems, but then like the stuff that it does right, it does so right. It does so incredibly right that those good elements are so good. It's just like, it's the most confused game ever. Clearly you had people on this team who had no idea what they were doing, had no idea what made Metroid good. And then you had the people who were given this job over here and they were like, okay, well, I know what I'm doing and I'm going to do this job so well. Just the like the visuals and the atmosphere and everything. Some of the sequences are just absolutely incredible. And I've enjoyed those early experiences so much. I almost like don't even want to go and potentially just mess up the whole, I don't know, man. I don't know. And like, I'm not even that excited to like talk about it because I put out that impressions video and like, that was me kind of being like, hey, this is a new game and it's like a special thing. So I did like kind of a gimmick. Like I get it was kind of a gimmick and that may be why people didn't like it. I kind of like made the whole thing like it was a dream because it was like, it felt like a dream. But that is one of the most downvoted videos I have ever put out. The reception was very, very bad. People, I don't know, like, yeah, again, maybe it was the gimmick angle or like, is it the fact that I was saying good things about the game? I don't really actually know, but that's kind of soured me on just like talking about it all. Cause like, I was like, this is a really special thing. I'm going to put out a special, different kind of first impressions video. And it just like did not go over well. Loads and loads of dislikes. So like, yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of even a separate topic there. We're talking about the sales right now. The point is though, they're not great. They're really not great. And we don't really have like beyond the idea that maybe some people are waiting to get a Switch 2. Okay. Yeah. That means that sales could trickle in over the next few years, entire years as the install base grows, I guess. But like, if this is, for the most part, the best that we're going to see for this game, it's bad. It's really not good. And it's one thing to get low to modest numbers for like a smaller series that is cheaper to produce, but that's the problem with Metroid, especially Metroid Prime. It doesn't perform well, but it's also probably really, really expensive. It took them this long. It took them this many years. It's basically a AAA game. Like it is. It's a AAA game. It looks really, really incredibly good. They must have spent a lot of money on it. So for it to like maybe not even have hit 1 million yet during the time when it should have sold the absolute most, you've got a brand new system where people are wanting to, you know, buy games and look at the pretty new graphics. But then you've also got 150 million install base for the 155 million for the original Switch. So like that's a lot of potential people to buy this game. And they didn't. They just didn't. And yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's pretty bad. We've always had this idea that the performance of this game would probably be really important in determining whether or not Nintendo continues to make these games. And there is probably a bigger discussion to be had about the future of the series some other time. We really don't know if they're going to look at this and be like, oh, well, clearly nobody likes this. Or are they going to look at it and be a little bit smarter and be like, all right, like, look at the reception, though. The problem isn't that it's Metroid Prime. The problem is that we messed it up. The problem is that we made it wrong. So hopefully someone at Nintendo is wise enough to recognize that. But again, that really is a conversation for later. I probably have a whole big main channel video going, cooking, coming up about just Metroid Prime 4 and what happened to it and the state of it and the future of the series and all that stuff. But for now, that's it. See you later. See you later. Big. Oh. It is hard. It is hard. Big old condolences to all of the other Metroid fans out there. You know, it was not fun news to hear, that's for sure. Future Arlo chiming in real quick. Journalist Stephen Totillo reached out to Nintendo and surprisingly got a response, an official response from a Nintendo rep regarding the Metroid Prime 4 sales situation. It seems we do have confirmation that combined, both editions of the game did manage to sell over 1 million copies. We still don't know how far over 1 million, but it is at least good to know that it at least hit 1 million between the two of them. I mean, it's definitely a positive. It means that it's not as bad as it could have been. However, I'm still it's still not looking super great. It's exactly like I said before. I don't know why Nintendo wouldn't have shown off the numbers combined. Like, I feel like if it can't be that far over 1 million. And if it is close to that 1 million mark, I might not want to show it off either. So I feel like that's still kind of a bad sign that they didn't mention it and they only just now said something about it because people were so worried. So they clarified a little bit. But yeah, it's still not looking great. And again, it's, you know, it's a series, it's a smaller series that tends to sell most of its copies right away, right at launch, and then not much later. So that's kind of why this is particularly bad. And because it had to have been such an expensive game to make that, like, these numbers are really not okay. It's still completely not okay. So yeah, unfortunately, this doesn't change too much. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll just have to wait and see.